Hi there, it's Councillor Glen. It is Thursday, March 19th, and that means it is the first day of spring. And it's a bit dull and gray out there. We've had some sunnier days this week, but I think spring is worth celebrating. It means we've got some nicer weather on the way. Just don't look at the forecast for the next 48 hours. A little bit of a cold front coming. Anyhow, updates. So first of all, I wanted to mention how nice it is to see people trying to find ways to connect socially with the community. We've got to be physically apart, but it doesn't mean that we can't be connected socially. So it's great to see things like on St. Patrick's Day with the shamrocks in the windows. I've seen some photos of different scavenger hunts and book giveaways that people have done. And I see that we've got some Christmas lights going back up around the neighborhood just to brighten things up in the evening when folks are out for a walk, which is really good to see. I do have some updates here. Yesterday, or was it the day before? I've lost track. Anyhow, in the last day or two, the city has announced a program around tax deferral. So if you're a small business, if you're a resident who's concerned about when you have to pay your property taxes, there's going to be some relief there. You can apply to defer your payment until October 31st, I believe it is. Now, it needs formal council approval when we meet next week, but I know there's a lot of support for that to give a bit of certainty and financial relief to residents right now. And that's on top of some of the different programs we're seeing from the federal and the provincial governments. I did have a chat this morning with Pierre Poilievre, our MP at the federal government level. A really good chat with him. He was saying his team right now is very, very busy helping Canadians who are abroad get back into Canada. So helping with passport issues or financial issues. So that's what's keeping them busy. I shared it a little earlier on my Facebook page, and I'll probably put it in the description of this video, but if you have a loved one who is having trouble getting back home for whatever reason, Pierre asked me to pass along that his office can help, so you can call or email his office and they'll do everything they can to make sure that any Canadian who's not in the country right now has the help they need to get back as soon as possible. I've been doing calls all morning, checking in with different community leaders, different community organizations. Yesterday I spoke with Michelle from the Western Ottawa Community Resource Centre. They offer support services, counseling, drop-ins on a usual day to all sorts of people in the community, seniors and people with disabilities and new parents. Of course, all those programs have been stopped, but their staff is still available by phone. So if you need help, if you need some counseling, if you need some advice on something, they are still available if you give them a call. They'll be happy to connect you with the right resources. She was also saying they've redeployed some of their staff to help with food deliveries to seniors, and they're partnering and working with different food banks and other social organizations to make sure that the help is all coordinated and gets out there. I was thinking, something like Western Ottawa, they've had a lot of experience helping out in things like floods or tornadoes. And so the Techlight is kind of there to help in an emergency situation. What's different this time is we don't always know exactly where people are. If there's a flood, you know where people are who need help because of the flood, where the floodwaters go. In a situation like this, we know there's probably people who are isolated in their homes and have questions or confused and need some help, and it's harder to find these people. So I'm glad to hear that groups like Western Ottawa are taking the lead on that. Also spoke with a couple of leaders from local churches. They have a similar approach. They're organizing volunteers to make calls out to their congregation, to their parishioners, and make sure that they're checking in so that people are okay. And I'm really glad to hear that, because I think it's one of the big challenges over the next week or two is making sure people know where to go for help and making sure that we're reaching out to folks and giving them the right information and letting them know that we have a community that really cares and that is ready to help out with whatever they need. What else? Spoke to some retirement home operators this morning. It's a difficult time for them. For the most part, you can't go in and you can't go out. And but their spirits are high and they're coping and they're doing the best they can in the situation. I was glad to check my mailbox yesterday and get my copy of the Community Voice. So I'm really glad that they're continuing to publish. Makes me remember next week I need to submit my bi-weekly column to them. So there's for my to-do list. And of course, I want to thank everybody for doing everything they can around the social distancing. I read something today to the effect of, we've got to be physically different distance, but we can be connected in other ways as a society. So I'm glad people are reaching out and keeping an eye out for their neighbors. And I'm glad people are staying at home, limiting those unnecessary trips. I think right now, I don't like to look at the daily numbers because they don't tell the whole story. The story and what we really need to remember right now is the more that we can do our individual parts to stay out of the community and to stay at home as much as possible, the more that we can slow down this spread, the sooner that we can get things back to normal and the more lives we're going to save. That's the most important thing. Keep your spirits up. Eat well. Try to get a good night's sleep. Read a book. Listen to some music. Play a board game. Go outside for a walk. It's pretty nice outside today, despite the cloudy overcast. Maybe the sun's coming out a little bit. It's going to get a little cold tomorrow, so get your good walk in today or tomorrow morning. And it was nice to chat with you. Keep your questions and feedback and comment coming, and I'll be back Friday afternoon. Take care. Bye.